Good evening, this is Nick Inman from VolumeProfileTrader.com on Wednesday, May 2nd, and the S&P was down today marginally, recovered most of its losses towards the end of the day, the second half of the day. One thing to say is we never really breached the lows this recent range. We definitely do have some resistance, and yesterday's selling tail is so far remains intact, and from there, well, let's see it. From today's highs, which were 1404.75 to yesterday's high of 1411.75, we have some resistance there. So if we get above today's high of that 1404.75, then you'll probably see it push up towards the prior day's high, the May 1st. But I'm still a believer that you need to be cautious in this market. I don't really think the risk appetite is there, at least not for me personally. I am long some names, but they are some low beta, high quality names, and anything that remains working, I will remain long. But the S&P just kind of was a do nothing day. The Dow, same thing. NASDAQ, same thing. The one thing you want to look at about the NASDAQ is we have a potential lower high relative to, obviously, the highs we've seen. That needs to be taken into account, and you need to be aware of that just in case the market starts to roll over. You can see how this starts to develop, and it's something to be aware of. Alright, this is the most important, basically the most important thing to watch right now is the euro. I said in last night's video, I shorted it yesterday on the 1st of May, got paid off today, looking to continue to get paid off. Really, I'm looking to add to the position. My stop is right above the current highs. I have half of my stop there, the other half is above the highs that we saw back at the end of March, early April. And I think that the euro flushes below these current lows and presses back to the lows we saw at the beginning of the year. Now on the opposite side, you have to look at the dollar. Let me get rid of that drawing. The dollar recaptured its point of control for the year after trading below it for about 5 sessions. You can see this 79.22 or so. I still expect the dollar to gain strength, and that's something that you want to be long dollars. And whether you just want to be in cash or you want to be long UUP, I think you can do both, really, and that's how I'm playing it. I'm long some UUP just to be long and potentially make some money off of it. I'm also short, let's see, it's the ultra short euro. That was up 1% and change today, so that was good. But ultimately speaking, I want to be short euros and long US dollars, and I want to be light on my exposure to the market. Bought Pepsi today, looking for a breakout off of these levels. You can even see an inverse head and shoulders. We have our left shoulder, we have our head, and we have our right shoulder. The measured move would be from the peak of the head, 62 to the neckline. Let's call it 67, a $5 move. From 67 would lead us to 72, which would be right where the 52-week highs are. So, and I also think that you can have your stop right below these lows. If you get stopped out, that's okay, and that's what trading's about. But I'm expecting a breakout, therefore I would want to see this last pullback hold. So what I did was I did a 3-to-1 risk-reward ratio. My stop is 65.70. So what I did was I bought it right at these levels. I took $1.15, which is my risk, and I times it by 3, multiplied it by 3. What's that? $3.45, and I simply added that onto where I bought, and I set my limit there for all but like an eighth of my entire position. So that's how I'm trying to set myself up. Procter and Gamble, similarly, I put my stop under these lows, and my target is in the 66 range. I think it's 66.30, but I bought it at 63.95 or so today. J&J continues to work. I think this is a name. I still think you can add to this name now. We bought it at the bottom of the value area, 63.27. But notice that it's a flight to quality, and there's no need to go after the cyclical plays right now. It's just, is it really worth it? Is the question. Is the risk reward there? Maybe if the market was down 20% or so, but it's right at its highs, and all of the cyclicals have been rolling over. So do you really want to be long cyclicals, or do you want to be long names that are paying dividends that have a good growth story? Pfizer, you may get a pullback here. Around 22 is where you'd want to get involved. Just pointing that out. If you aren't already long, wait for a move down to the 50-day moving average. You can see the huge volume here. What you'd be looking for is a pullback and then a continuation to the upside. Now, despite what I just said about cyclicals, this is a name that I still do want to own. Southern Copper. I may pull the trigger when it pays its dividend and sells off that day, but I really want to get it more towards 32. But I like the fact it pays a 6.5% dividend, and it's a name that you can sell calls against and enhance your premium, or I should say enhance your returns. CSX, just continue to watch this. Kind of just watch the IYT in general. It looks like it wants to break out. It was up 1% today. We've had a long period of consolidation. Point of control for the year, we're right above it now. I'd say this is pretty much a right here, right now opportunity. Go with names that are going to work. Kansas City Southern, that's pulling back. UNP, Union Pacific, that was up marginally today. JB Hunt, this is a trucking, and this may be something that you want to get involved in. You place your stop right below 55, so you have about 4% of risk, but it looks like it's going to make a push to the upside here. It goes along with the transport theme. Merck, I nearly pulled the trigger on this today, but I didn't. I may buy it tomorrow, especially if it makes a new high. But this is a name where I think you can keep your stop around $1 lower from current levels and look for almost the mid-40s, to be honest. Look for another 3-to-1 risk-reward ratio and kind of go from there. ExxonMobil giving you a pullback. I'm not necessarily thinking this is time to pull the trigger. Just kind of watch and see, wait and see kind of situation. Similarly with Chevron, these may continue to power higher, but I'm not willing to press a bet here. So I'm just kind of sitting on the sidelines. American Express continues to work. Visa starting to sell off, and MasterCard starting to sell off. So we're seeing outperformance in American Express, which is something unusual and something we haven't seen. And the last name, Apple. Apple is, I think this is a name for now that you just want to stay away from. I'm still have exposure to it. If you pull up a let's see what this is, 90-day chart, you can see the volume, $580, significant volume here. So far holding as support, then you have significant volume up to 616. You can see both of these levels have been crucial levels in Apple, and only twice total in the past 2 months has Apple moved in one direction more than these brackets, and you can see it happened once in April, which ended up being a selling opportunity, and once at the end of April, which ended up being a buying opportunity. So I think if you wanted to make a trade, it would be to go long off of these levels with a stop below basically today's intraday low. But I'm not too confident in that, and like I said, there's normally I don't flock to quality, but this is one of the circumstances that it's necessary, and looking for a little outperformance there. So, but if you want to take a cheap shot on Apple, here's your trade. Going long at these levels, stop about 2% lower, with a trade up towards maybe $20 higher. So about 2 to 1 risk reward ratio. So, anyways, that's really it. Take care. Have a good night. Talk to you tomorrow.